The Champions League is the hardest and most prestige trophy to win in football. And Chelsea fans, no, it is not the Club World Cup. With many veterans lifting the Champions League, going their whole careers aiming for that trophy, what I'm going to do today is give the young guns their chance for early success. And yes, there's some young players that have actually won the Champions League already. But today I'm taking over a fairly young team in the Premier League. And I'm only allowed to sign players who are teenagers in order to try and win the Champions League, giving them all the glory. Yes, people, welcome to a bit of a challenge. Now, we have, of course, got a team in question. I'm not making up a random team. This is AFC Bournemouth, which I'm using, A, because I've actually not used them, and they're the only Prem team that I haven't used this year, but B, they've been scuppered. Dean Howson's gone and been robbed from them, Milos Kerkez, 2 defenders, and they've only signed 1 player in Adrien Truffier, but they also have youth, with the likes of Eli Junior Cruyff, one of 2 players that expired this build, and Julio Soler. No, he's not a teenager, as the aim, like I've just said, is to only sign teenagers in this rebuild, but I am allowed players in the team that go up to the age of 25. Once they hit that 25 mark, they have to be released from the squad, apart from the current crop of players we have, because that would be a little bit too unfair on me. Instead, I'm allowing myself to transfer list them, let me get some offers in first, and buy our initial young team, which firstly, we'll have to survive in the Prem with. This will not be an easy move, and I'm going to be selling for quite a while here, so Yunal's going to Aston Villa. I'm going to get on with these off screen, and these are all the outgoings. As you can see, Luis Sinisterra at the top. I'm going to change it to most expensive. It was Ivanison to a league rival, Semenyo, Cliver in a very fitting move to Liverpool. Yep, we've got rid of all the players, and we had to release 2 of them in Philip Billing and Smith. But now, as you can see, our budget is 272 million, and I have took a little bit out of it, placing it into the scout because I had to get players in to get players out, filling our reserves with youth players in order to let the senior players leave. And they're down here. There isn't many of them. We've got Correa, we've got West, 262 plus ratings. Very good. 1 English, 1 Peruvian. And this is the main squad. Okay, we've definitely got some work to do. We've got another 17-year-old in Reynolds who isn't a midfielder. Maybe getting relegated wouldn't be the worst thing. It would allow our players to grow, but on the other hand, they get older, nearer 25, and nearer leaving. However, firstly, we've got to bring some players in, so let's not think about that at the moment. Let's go and get our real-life teams, and starting off with Gabriel Mascardo. Of course, in these early seasons, we're going for real-life players who are teenagers. However, as the seasons go on, we know we're going to be signing regens instead of real-life players. And Andone Iraola, I have kept in charge of Bournemouth, so he's gone for a La Masia player, Marc Bernal. Very promising player, and promising is Minsu, costing us a whopping 7.4 million or 7 point on the dot. It was a release clause. Same with Marc Bernal. And yes, them 2 are weak, but we've got no choice when we can sign. We've got to go teenagers, and now we've got to go big. 2 positions to fill and almost 200 plus million. Maybe we'll go for more than 1. Maybe we fill out in season 1 with some of the world's best talent, as now to centre-back we move. Luka Vuskovic, he's a Tottenham player on loan in real life, but we've signed him here permanently. Then we've got my favourite player in the game as our penultimate signing, Roger Fernandez. Before our final signing right here, one of the most promising players, Rodrigo Mora. Them last 2 a little bit unrealistic, but for the most part, I've tried to keep it quite realistic. Mascaro, Minso, Bernal. I could have just gone for players like Pau, the 19-year-old defender at Barcelona, but I didn't want to really make it a boring rebuild. I want to use unique teams that people might not have used in career mode before, as Truffe and Zabranyi, 2 players that aren't teenagers, the highest rated. And then we've got Roger, who has just turned 20, Araujo, he's almost going to leave the club, Moscaro, Mora, he's still only 19, and grabbed 8 goals, as our second top scorer was Eli Junior Cruyff, the man this video is centered about. But our top scorer is Dexter West. Actually, one that's come through our academy, 18-year-old, 76 rated. and maybe could get more game time in the Championship, as that's where we go. I kind of accepted it before I even started simming. For some reason, Hull City got promoted with stupid life points, and West Ham finished rock bottom. Kind of funny, because I don't want to sign a player from West Ham. Sheffield United survived, and we need to be at the top of that division, top 4, to get into the UCL in order to complete this rebuild, telling me we've got a long way to go, because we're losing to Championship clubs, so we might not even walk that league. Make it back-to-back defeats, and we actually got beat by a League One team in Cardiff. It is not looking good for Bournemouth, but still, we're definitely going to try and bounce back. If some of our money gets carried over because we didn't spend much money at all, only on the team players and only on the best coaches in order to get this team growing, as I don't think anyone has to leave next season, but the season after there will be movement, and next season, more movement in. As before we reveal the budget, that's the Championship this season. We've got to try and win it, because I do want to get straight back to the Prem, because then we can sign better players with a bigger budget. But something else we're after is hitting 60,000 subscribers. So if you could hit that subscribe button and leave a like before FC26, that is what we are aiming for, and the budget has been added to 210 million. Now that is a surprise for the Championship. And like I said, nobody leaving apart from Max Aarons. I'm just going to release him. We've definitely got the money to do so. We do need a new pair of fullbacks to replace them once they go, a new goalkeeper, a new centre-back, maybe another striker. Daniel Jebbison is back, so maybe we could loan out the player from last season, who scored a lot of goals, potential to be special, in Dexter West, who I don't think is a promotion striker, but he knows how to score and could do out on loan, which could be brilliant for us at the moment. Formationally as well, we're sticking the same, just going for a basic wide formation. I'm not focused on the drills at the moment. We almost survived in the division above with a terrible team. I'm going to make Scott a CDM. Maybe he could play for a little while. Definitely need some more bodies. And these could come from the youth academy. Townsend, get scouting, as I'm going to send you to Brazil, home of probably the best teen talents. As is there any in the meantime we can check who are real before we check on the academy again? Well, yes, there is. There is Endrick, but again, I think it's a little unrealistic signing him for the Championship, as there's a lot of regens in this season, and a regen we could take on is Caio Moreira. A cheap first little signing we're going to make, and hopefully good enough to try and get us promoted. Another regen for the bench, but I do want to sign some real life talent. Whilst we still can, we'll take a few players through the academy in Guilherme da Costa, reminding me of the next player I want to sign, Luis Guilherme from West Ham, relegated with us, but he's just turned 20, so by the rules we cannot sign him. Instead, pivoting to Antonito Cordero, signed for Newcastle United. He's coming in alongside Tobias Ramirez Cardoso and the very decent looking Matthias Nilflor, the goalkeeper. A player I've genuinely never heard of, but I've tried to stick him into the goal. Unfortunately, he hasn't really got played. We've got Vuskovic, we've got Ramirez Cardoso. Mora's done pretty decently. Cruyff has done the same, but the main man for me is our guy Roger. A +6 with 94 pace, 83 dribbling, 81 passing, and scored the most goals for us, 22, which I think is a good sign. Cruyff with a lot. We've got Mora, we've got Cordero, not much of an increase in that man. And then our lone boys out the club. Brewer's gone up 2, we've got Da Costa not really moving, then Ramon Sanchez 69, Dexter West 73. I want to make this mostly real life plays if I can, but I do like the fact we've got our regens from our own academy growing as 4 players in the team of the year. Paulson, the goalkeeper, tried to bench, Truffier, Araujo, and Roger, who is the only real youngster there in a team that is mostly youngsters. And look at that, not all team of the year, but we're definitely the team of the year overall. 102 points beats West Bromwich Albion by 17 to the Championship title. I honestly thought we'd be in them playoffs, but that is our first trophy with the youth, not the Champions League, but the Championship. If only I could go back and change the rules, as Portsmouth beat us in the FA, Burnley beat us in the round of 16 of the Carabao Cup, but honestly, what a first season or second season, but first with mostly you. However, despite all the excitement, I actually forgot a bit of a rule. We have to release players over 25, and there's been 2 birthdays. In Julian Araujo, a team of the season player last time, and Adrien Truffier, a man we could have made money on. We have to release. It's even going to cost us money to get rid of the player, not make it. And same with Araujo, as now Alex Paulsen and Zabani. Onto the transfer list they're going, but luckily enough, the money we have from season 1 just keeps carrying over. £194 million. And how did the youth player on the bench do? This man, Modrera, he's done okay, so he steps in the lineup, but we still definitely need a right back. In this starting 11, now we're going to get Ramirez Cardoso a bit of game time, Niflaw the same. Definitely need to replace Alex Scott. I can remember at Bristol City when this man absolutely burst onto the scene. However, he ain't going to get the chance to do so here. He's going to go ahead and get sold straight away. Not make the mistake on him. He's going to VfB Stuttgart. Out the door, just like Ilya is. He's going to go to Liverpool. And Paulsen, we've already got a keeper. He's going to Manchester City. Sure enough, strengthening up some rivals, but this season I'm not aiming for Champions League. This season is when we buy the youth players that are really good, maybe like Endrick, although he's just turned 20 and gone to Juve, but you know what I mean. We're going to sign the youngsters, maybe if they're from Real, if they're from City. We're just going to get the best of the best, as Ayoub Boudaoui, or Bouadi, however you say it, 19-year-old, is coming from Manchester United, and looks a little bit like Guendouzi. Hopefully he just doesn't play like the Arsenal version of him. We should be fine, as then I've selected 3 more players, 2 from Atletico Madrid in Mikey Moore from Tottenham and Chido Obi of Man United. Sure, we have a lot of strikers, but I just feel Chido Obi is well known. He's of course still a teenager, and I would regret not signing him. So we're going to pay his release clause first, then go ahead and get Mikey Moore, and then that last youngster you saw as a right back, Diakite, leaving us 154 million left, and I've just found one really good one, as now I think we've met it where we have to just sign regens over real-life players. Cost Alessio Ferri at Aston Villa. A statement of intent signing taken away from a very established Premier League club. And wanted to survive, do survive. It's better than season number 1, with not a full teen team, but we've only signed teens. A lot of teens as we finished 12th, not 13th, which would have been a good ring to it. And then we don't go down. West Ham getting a lot of relegations in this save. Aston Villa did well without their centre-back that we just signed from them. They finished in the top 2, I think it was. I think they finished second. As where are we? There we are, losing to Spurs. 3-2 in the Emirates FA Cup 4th round. And it is a trophyless season. We lost in the round of 32 to Manchester City in the Carabao, but this has been our builder season. Apart from our fullbacks and goalkeeper, or one fullback and goalkeeper, I've got to say, I'm very happy with it. We've got Fernandez now at an 87, Moore at an 85, Cruyff, I hope he's kept on scoring. Same with captain Gabriel Moscardo. He's only 22. As the next player to really age, it's these 2, which I don't mind getting rid of. I tell you what, if we can win the Champions League before Moscardo turns 24, that means we're going to keep all the current players we have, plus add to it. The only issue is we can only sign teens, and we might not get any good teens coming through, as Cruyff, not many goals. 19, I want more from our striker. Moore has done pretty well with 18 and Roger with 13. Them 2 are Portugueses, which is reminding me of another thing. Now we're on to signing regens. Can we try and get a regen of the world's best players? Cristiano and Messi. I'm gonna be on the lookout for those 2 now. And this is the thing now. I know I'm gonna sound stupid actually saying this, but 141 million. The budget's going down as our aims are going up. And that could be a struggle. As you can see, the board want us to finish in the Europa League spots. But we need better teenage players, and teenage players, usually the most expensive ones. Take Lamine Yamal, for example. Whatever he does with his career, he's probably not going to be as expensive at any point as he is today. That's because he has the potential to keep growing, as we only have one keeper at the club. So goalkeeper number 1 priority, then probably left back. And from my experience in FC25, the best regen keepers are usually Polish. There's usually a Szczesny regen out there, but this time there is nothing. We'll just have to check around the world's best leagues, and I think La Liga have done well with keepers. The likes of Jan Oblak, but Morales and Velasquez, not good. Moving on to Italy, and the best there is a Chilean Julio Marin. However, in the Bundesliga, Linus Werner looks like the regen Manuel Neuer, the same rating as our current keeper, but this guy's younger, he's got better potential. I'd presume anyway, in putting him straight into the team. I think my presumptions are right, because he's already gone to an 80 rating at 19, very promising. As one thing we haven't revisited is the tactics after I said we were okay with them. I'm going to go to short passing. I'm going to go on that high approach. We want to break the mold of the top four, and Cruyff hasn't been scoring many goals. So I'm going to make him a false 9, get our 3 behind him very high up here. In Mora, who scored a lot of goals, Fernandes has mostly been our top scorer, and Mikey Moore. A lot of pressure on the 20-year-old now, as we only need one more player into this team, and it has to be a left back, who I think I found just here in Tatsuya Yoshida, a Japanese one. It's always good to get another nation in, and also he cost just over 30 million, 84 rated. He came in at an 81. He's 20 now, we signed him at 19. I promise you, as this is the team, the 2 oldest are the highest rated in Fernandes and Moscardo. But genuinely, look at this. We've got one of the world's best already, and it's of course Roger Fernandes. I'm going to say it right here on a whim. My favourite player to sign in the entirety of FC25, as goal scoring wise. A right mid gets 38. And this time a place in the team of the year for the Premier League alongside 2 others. And he even gets the player of the tournament. Well in Roger. I also find it really funny that he's called Roger and he's actually from Portugal, as that is a brilliant finish as well. Some years we'd win the Premier League with that. 89 points. It was 3 off Manchester City, who ran away with it. Then Liverpool, then Chelsea, then Brighton. A team that are doing a similar thing to us and usually sign young wonderkids, and maybe need a rebuild of their own very soon, as the FA Cup lost in the final. That would have been nice. I know we're in the Champions League now, but I would like a trophy, even if it does nothing in terms of Europe, as the exact same result in the other trophy against the exact same team, Manchester City. Get out of here. As if it wasn't for the citizens, what a season that would have been. What a season, as our weakest players in the lineup now are fullbacks, but I don't feel like they're crucial. Goalie and defence is okay. Buwadi's a little bit on the edge. Of course, he's 2185 rated and more on the edge. I do want to see him score more goals. Same as Cruyff as this season. I'm going to just straight up release the top 2 in Jebison and Soler, who's actually already leaving the club. However, last chance for Gabriel Moscardo if we don't do well. He's into his final year, and if he hits 24 at 89 overall, we've either got to sell the man for profit or lose him if he turns 25. And we haven't won the Champions League by then, as let's see that budget. It is 217 million, so finally the money goes back up. I'm guessing that is from 2 finals and finishing second in the Premier League. To Manchester City, who I'm going to see if they've got any good youngsters I could just steal to help us, but no players found. I guess Man City going down the veteran route. Anyone just in the Premier League in general, maybe over the rating of 75. We've got a goalkeeper, but goalkeeper is definitely not what we need right now, as there's an even better one at Brighton. Collar, 18. Could have done with him just a moment ago as Han Yong Yang. Is this the Son regen actually getting himself a place at Tottenham? Or sorry, he was getting himself a place at Tottenham. Now I've actually gone and signed him. I'd love to shove him in for Mickey Moore, but I'm actually searching for another winger now, an Argentinian one, if Lionel Messi has retired, which he has done. His name is not popping up in the search bar. Just like Cristiano Ronaldo's, we could be on for a 2-piece. If the 2 world's best players actually have regens fluttering around, I'm gonna go out there and find them, but unfortunately no decent Ronaldo one. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy though, look what I found at Torino. This just has to be the next world's best player. This guy only 16 years of age? And believe it or not, I write down every single transfer I make in a video, and that is the most expensive one we've signed, and we've never spent over 40 million, apart from that last window, and I have played Godoy up front in front of Mora, Fernandes, Honestly, this guy is too good. At a 94 rated, +3 this season, 5'5", scoring 16 goals, and a few coming from Dexter West. As I didn't see Godoy on that list, but I haven't changed him. Maybe something I should have done at the start, as it takes him up to a 90 rating. At 17, unbelievable. If this isn't Messi's regen, we can certainly say it's someone like Aguero's. With Cruyff to come in, we've got a 90 rated in the defence and 88 in goal. Yes, just sign the wonderkids in FIFA. Or FC if you want success, but make sure you get City out the way, because in this save right here, they've been indestructible. Smashing us in the Community Shield, 4-1 before making us finish second. However, they're out of the way in the FA Cup this year. Finally a trophy. We'll take that and shove it in the cabinet. Let's just hope Man City didn't beat us in the Carabao. Our rivals of this save, but we're not actually in it. It is Liverpool's. Spurs actually beat us in round 3 after we stole their Son regen. And in the Champions League, 13th. Not good, but also not bad. For a team full of youngsters anyway, as in the playoff round, we beat AS Roma 2-0. Or AS Roma, I'm joking. And then another 2-0 over Barcelona. I see Roger Fernandez's ex-team in there in Braga. Then we beat Inter 5-1. And then we smashed Atleti 4-1 after stealing Moore and Obi from them to put us into the Champions League final in season number 5. It will be Moscado's ex-team, Paris Saint-Germain. Off the back of a disappointing result in the Super Cup final against Chelsea, but honestly with this team, and I think I am going to stick Godoy on the wing still. Brilliant journey we've come on with the Cherries as well. Picked our games very well to concentrate on. Not in the league phase, but in the knockout rounds as Kvicha. They're going to start off the better, but there we go. Our Frenchman in the midfield. Badawi down the line into Roger Fernandez, and that is a terrible tackle, Colwill. I think Roger's going to have a fun time against him, as here he is back on the ball. We've got a Portugueser on one wing, and Argentine on the other. But we got a little too cocky there, and now Kvicha, he's through on goal. A brilliant tackle for Skovic, and they've tried to chip Werner. Hopefully he doesn't have too much action today. Although Paris are a brilliant side, can't knock it. As Cruyff is sitting as that false 9, letting Roger run in front of him. Godoy making no runs at all. So Moura, it might have to be Portuguesa with Portuguesa here. If we could have stayed on side, it would have been brilliant. As Godoy here, his first involvement against Andre Santos, unselfishly passes it into the Portuguese Moura. Okay, and we're starting to get in the game here a bit. Can we get a short run? I have actually called for one. It's gone into Cruyff at the near post. Back post, there is a man. If Rogers can cross it to Badawi, that is a brilliant ball across the net. And I bet he had a lot of fans off the seats right there. But Roger Fernandez, here he goes running. Fernandez needs an option in the middle. Doesn't get it because Cruyff is on his drop back position. But Moura, brilliant touch. The Portuguese to try and shoot across goal. Chances here, chances there. Chances every goddamn where as Santos now into Elise. Just get forward. I want to see Godoy more. I want to be able to say good day to Godoy, as that's a good return pass into Thomas, their striker, and Werner. Good job, he's got a good jump on him. That could have easily fallen to their man, as the one problem I'm noticing with this team is they're all small, with no physicality, because the youngsters, as you can see, Moura, he's been dragged across the deck, and then Donnarumma, one of the biggest players possible, smothering it as Diakate. Not seen much of our fullbacks again, but look at the physicality. Now it's the 70th minute, I'm definitely seeing it. Stay strong, lads, and I mean that, as Moura, that is a brilliant turn. Godoy, just made a change to Cruyff. He should be getting forward more. I've not liked him as a false 9, despite it helping him in the league. And Cruyff, the original Bournemouth player, through on goal! And in the 88th minute, after I've released him a bit upfield, I've got myself thinking, what have I done? Because he's obviously got to be just put in front of goal. To score them, he's got the strength, he's got the pace on Ronald Araujo, across the net of Donnarumma. Get in there, Cherries. As final attack for PSG, though, this game actually isn't over. It is a shot from range and just wide, but that wide means we've won it. The Champions League will be Bournemouth's, and we have not signed a player over 20. And Moscado, like I said, he had to clutch it against his former team. He has lifted that trophy, and he has stuck for the longevity of his career, or early career. He's not even 24 yet, and I'm speaking about him gone. He would have been gone from our team. As if you don't want to be gone by the channel, or from the channel, click my hands to see what YouTube recommend you. But if you want to recommend something, drop it in the comments below.